to an amazing episode of the You're Not Done Yet podcast, where your purpose is just moments away, and I'm here to help you get there. Y'all, this series is just getting better and better and better. And as you can see, we have another young woman on the screen. If she can introduce herself, we'll get right into it.
Hello, greetings and salutations. My name is Ayla Madison, CEO of Power Incorporation, and thank you so much for having me on. I am so honored, so honored.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, like I told you, thank you. So I know you gave us your title and what you do, but who is Ayla Madison?
I am every woman. No, but really and truly, like Ayla is authentic and loving and nurturing and assertive. Ayla is all things that I believe that I am, that I say that I am.
Yes, I like
that's the middle, but the professional side. So my business it's a major of combination of project management, public relations, marketing, event coordinating, hosting, and of course, I'm also a published model. But I don't believe in stopping there. So who knows what's what in the next couple of
like who knows what's next?
Hat in the box. Let's go.
Let's do
Let's
it.
go.
I love it. So a little background about me and Ayla. I met Ayla some time ago, and since then it's just been like it's been a genuine connection. Like, every time we see each other, it's like, hey boo, hey, how you doing? And always just catching up and just talking about what we got going on and what's next. So I wanted to bring Ayla on this series because just watching her growth and just watching what she's been doing, what she already has done, what she's been doing, and what she continues to do, I think is just a testament to not giving up on your vision, being bold with your vision and going after it. So I just would say, Ayla, how did we get here? How do we get to Power E? How do we get from just thinking about it to actually doing it? How do we get there?
I failed a lot.
Yeah.
I failed a lot and through a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations. I've been in my business for over 10 years. I really started in the club. I was, doing promotions, doing events, and I was like, I want more. And I was open to learning. So power isn't just an overnight success. Power is not just let me just try this out. I'm willing to sacrifice, but I'm also more open to understanding the power of relationships and being genuine and authentic in what I do. And understanding that not everything is for me. And that's why I let people know, like, yeah, I do know public relations, but that doesn't mean that that's all I do.
All you do, right?
But so power comes from a lot of failures. My biggest quote that I would tell anybody is, if you're gonna fail, go ahead and fail now, fail fast, and learn, and then move forward.
Yes, because I think the thing is that when we fail, we feel like that's the end. We feel like once we fail, okay, there's no coming back from it. Like there's no like, okay, what is next? Okay, and I look at failures this way too. Is like, God, what are you trying to get me to learn from the failure? What are you trying to get me to, like, And I think the thing is too, it coincides with purpose, because when you fail, it's you testing your faith, right? It's you testing, like, are you willing?
It's always a lesson, though. It's always, and that's why I don't believe in, like, oh, I failed. No, and like, you gotta understand, like, that's how you learn who you are. Just like back in the day, mama be like, all right, don't touch that stove hot. But how you gonna know what it feels like to get burnt until you get burnt? So you gotta understand, like, that's entrepreneurship nowadays. That's relationships. And I'm not saying like accept the pain of failure, but I am saying being open and optimistic, because I'm always a student first. Even if I feel like I'm advanced in my profession, I'm always a student first and foremost. So I'm humble enough to always be eager to learn. I love being around. I have great mentors who have been in the business, been in the game, and I just love to being able to, like, absorb from them and even seeing how and what they didn't work, so that I can learn what may work for me.
Yeah, 100%.
That's
and I feel like that's a good thing and key to it too, because in life we're gonna be lifelong learners. That's 100%.
I don't life, baby.
Listen, but whatever you do, there's always going to be something new. There's always going to be some new advancement into what you're doing.
Right.
Hey, since you started, how have you adjusted to the new? How have you tackled the new in your line of work?
I love to think it's okay to adapt. You have, and that's my military background. So a lot about me too is I was in the Marine Corps for 10 years, where you have to learn how to be like a chameleon, because one thing about whatever industry that you do, there's always changing. That, you know, like when I started out doing promotions, social media wasn't the thing. Right. We had to be out here in these streets, like passing out flyers, the stakes, like really out here putting ourselves forward. That's no longer, you know, that's no longer the way. Yeah. You have to be okay with change without changing who you are. You're just changing the components of the mechanics of the different ways that you need to do things. Now, you know, you got to learn like me with marketing. I had to go and find the resources to learn about SEOs and learn about, you know, certain things and mechanics to make sure that I'm still on top of my game, not only for myself, but for my clients. Right, 100%. And I think the fact too is that because once you invest in your line of work, whatever you do, like you have to be okay with not knowing it all. You have to be okay with taking constructive criticism. You have to be okay with the client saying, like, I see your vision, but it's like, I'm not there yet. Like I see the vision you have for me, but I'm not there yet. Absolutely. So, and I'm pretty sure in your line of work, you have been like, well, God, like, is this for me? Is this for me? I question it every day. Look, sometimes I wake up, I just wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Sometimes I be like, y'all know what this? Y'all got it, especially you got it. It's more challenging now for me than it was when I first started, because when I was hungry. I'm not saying I'm not hungry now, but I'm more strategic. And I have a thing that I have to grow up from, because like I have to mature from, because people that come into the business thinking that it's supposed to, you know, to me it's disrespectful, because it's like I really put in the work, y'all. But then I have to learn that, hey, you know, that's why you did put in the work, so that they can come into business and be like, you know, that for them. Right. Because you're laying the groundwork. Oh my gosh. There's still days where I'm just like, this ain't giving what it needed to give. Like, hey, it's not giving what it needs to give. Why am I not princessing out here? But that's not my energy anyways. But I'm just saying, like, I'm like, why am I still, you know? Yeah. It's every single day. It's every single day. Yes. But in speaking of entrepreneurship, and just like you said, even though every day sometimes you feel like, well, God, I don't know if this is for me, but what motivates you to keep going? Like, what motivates you to keep going? Wow. It's a calling. You know, it's that fire. That's what it's almost like it's in you, not on you. And that's what motivates me, because I feel like I've never wanted to be like anybody else. I may be admired. Now that's the difference. You may admire what somebody does and be like, oh, I'm interested in learning. But for me and what I do, like, it's a gift first and foremost. And and God will put gifts in people for different things. It doesn't always mean that it's like, you know, we at the church house, because I may be that person that has to go to the club and get them Jezebels out. And I spoke on it before. So that's my fire, though. It's like, I mean, it's purposeful, it's divine, but I can't really like put my finger on it all the time and be like, oh, isn't it? No, because honestly, like, even when I look back at the journey of how I even started, girl, let me tell you that story. So I was backstory. We love a good backstory. I love a good backstory. I was like 15. I was turning 16 years old, and I was like, you know what? I want to do a 16th birthday party right here. You know, I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and when I tell you, to this day, that was the biggest like party in the city. It was at a hotel. I'm talking about people was just like over capacity, had to get the police involved. And I'm 16, you know, but not in a bad way, but because it was tapped out. And that
Yeah.
man was like, Pretty Ricky the Mavericks had their little,
Yes. Yes.
that lets you know, like, you are what you attract. So why would you want
Yes.
to fight that? Like, my
Yes.
passion is, and my thing is, this is me against me. This is me and my divine,
Yes.
my divine path. So it should never
Yes.
be. I will say I do get the anxiety when I feel like I'm not doing enough, but that's when I have to learn, because entrepreneurship, there's no rule book.
Yes. You just go for it.
You go for it. And I'm a mother. I'm a mother first and foremost, times two.
Right.
Also, those are sacrifices that we don't know anything about because our parents may or may not have been entrepreneurs. I'm the first one in my family line that is a legit, quote unquote, entrepreneurial. So I'm the first. So I'm doing a lot of things that are unknown and unforeseen. So it is very scary all the time.
Yes. But I mean, it's true though, because I think it just goes to show though, like, you're committed to your alignment, right? You're committed to the thing that God has told you to do. And I think that when we hear that word commitment, it's like, oh my God, I got to give my all, right? And that means that I got to sacrifice a lot of stuff. You do.
Yeah.
I got to give up a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right? There are going to be some people that you thought that you were going to be able to take with you.
Well, riders ain't riding, baby. They ain't riding.
But when you're committed to the thing or the things that God has called you to do, you have to be okay with that, right? Like, you have to be so in tune and sound mind, just like, okay, God, well, if I gotta let him go, I gotta let him go, right? Because what's in me is bigger than me. Like you said, like it's in you, not on you, but it's in you, right? And so as we switch gears to start talking about purpose, because that's what the You're Not Done Yet podcast is all about.
Dang it, baby.
You know what I'm saying? But I would say though, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna tell me yeah, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. But do you feel like you are walking in your God-given purpose? Do you feel like you're walking?
At first, I didn't know what that meant. Keep in mind, when I started doing this, I did this out of fun. Like, I did this because I love to be behind the scenes, on the scene. Like, I love it but I didn't know. I was so young. I was young.
Right.
But I was young, but I didn't know that was a like that was my purpose. Sometimes we just doing stuff because it's what we attracting, but that doesn't always mean, like, just because you can cook don't mean you're supposed to open a bakery. You know what I'm saying? So how do you know? How do you define what a purpose, what a God purpose is, right?
Yes.
I got to the point. I'm very spiritual. I pray. I was like, you know what? And honestly, doors would open up. Yeah. And it's all about the energy. It's about the direction. And it's like understanding that this is a you and God thing. Because I would say, for my craft and what I've done, I don't know too many females who have done what I have done. And if there are, I don't mean to offend anybody who has been a promoter during that timeline that I just didn't know them. So because I didn't have a relationship and because I didn't know them, guess what? How do I know? I didn't have a mentor. I didn't know what purpose was. So I just kept doing at the time what physically felt good or what physically felt right. And then as I matured and started pouring into myself, then I started understanding that the physical and the spiritual, that's what the purpose is. It's that interconnection.
Yes, interconnection.
So it took some time, it took some time. And a lot of times, like, I would get cussed out. They'd be like, what you doing? Like, you just out here, like, you ain't making no money. I was like, I'm making money, but that doesn't y'all business.
None of y'all business, but trust me, I'm getting the point.
Your family members who love you and who are concerned about you, they may not know or understand. So to them, sometimes it could come off, especially like as a woman, I know my family line, especially my men and my family, they're very protective over all the women. Like, hold up. Look, cuz, like, sis, like, what we doing? What we going?
What we doing in here? What we doing? What we doing out here?
You in the club again? But I was working, and they didn't understand that because that wasn't their language to understand. So a lot of times we get to that point where we knock ourselves on the pivot because the language that God ordained us for wasn't the language communicated to them.
No, no.
So
no, and I am a
it's a
firm believer
journey.
in that. Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in that because it's one of the things where it's like I, he didn't tell you, but he told me.
He told me.
Right?
It's for
He
me.
told me. He didn't tell you. He told me.
Right.
So how dare you look at me sideways when I'm just telling you what God said? Now I don't
You
mind
know what?
breaking
I
it
had
down.
to learn not to get offended. I
Yeah.
had to learn to lead with love, and that's where power comes from. Because
Yes.
first and foremost, I'm community first.
Yes.
I am rooted. Like
Yes.
historically, I'm community first. And so
Yes.
I'm like, if you don't feel like you power enough, you say my name, you're gonna be power.
You're gonna be power,
And
period.
that's where power originally comes from. It's just like pouring and giving people, the
Yes.
communities, the organizations, the power.
Yes.
So
And it's
that's
a And no, and the thing is too, you have to realize that, like I said earlier, like your purpose just isn't for you, right? It's for the people that it intended before
yes,
God intended it. So, like you said, your family didn't know. Like, okay, like she's just in the club, whatever, whatever. But being in the club was your ministry though at the
yeah,
time.
oh
It
yeah.
was your ministry at the time, right? It was your ministry to be like, nah, like God is calling y'all out of here. And I'm gonna be the one to bring you out of
Somebody got
here.
to go in the trenches.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is though, and it's the transparency of like I was once that person. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like the problem that a lot of us, and especially us young folks,
Now don't get it twisted.
yeah, but I feel like the problem that a lot of the younger generation is having with connecting is that the older community sometimes make it seem like their stuff don't stink. And
Getting
it's like, how are you gonna try to, you know what I'm saying? But you're trying to pull me out of something, but you're looking down on me. Like you're not talking at my level and saying that you've been.
why are you not pulling my hand and being like, bruh, sis, look, baby, look, look, powder muffin. Like, why you not being like, hey, I've been here, done that. We have
Yes.
to listen and receive that as well. So it's
Yes.
give and take.
And that's an agreeable point because I feel like too younger generation don't want to hear it. And
Mm-mm.
it's like I'm big and bad and I can figure out on my own, but it's like my sister, my brother, I'm trying to keep you from having to go down that road that I went down to get out of that when I'm giving you the book.
To go through that road, and we just have to be there to clean up, like help them clean up.
Yes.
It's the same concept when we got burnt.
Yeah.
I was raised by my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I would get burnt a lot in the kitchen, but I
Yeah.
learned when the
Yeah.
irons is hot, baby.
You okay.
I got a couple of kitchen battle wounds.
Yeah, no, but it's needed though. It's needed though because it's like because if you don't get it that way, the world gonna give it to you much harder. The world is gonna give it to you 10 times, and what your mom and your aunties are trying to tell you in that kitchen, the world ain't gonna do nothing but confirm it times two. Confirm it times two. And I would say too, I guess what do you feel like has been like a major obstacle that you have been facing or have faced? Like you're probably still going through it now, but a major obstacle that you have faced, like in your journey of entrepreneurship.
Oh my gosh. I would say two things.
Yeah.
One for sure is the silent competition. And two is I don't even worry about this being a male dominated industry because when I started out, I've learned how to navigate that. But I've really battled with people feeling like they can use me.
Yeah.
And not realizing that what God instilled in me, I will allow you to utilize. But there's because of what I do and because of the positions God has put me in these positions, but I've worked, because the steps that have been ordered.
Right.
And I do know it's a big shift right now going on in the entrepreneurship world. It's a lot of individuals who may either want to try, and because one thing about me, I move with grace, and I don't like to look like what I've been through because I'm beautiful.
Period. Because I'm beautiful.
Listen, but there's been long nights. There's been, you know, so many sacrifices, times where I would have to leave my children and, you know, go out of time, like things I didn't want to do because I wanted to be home. I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be a mother, but I had to make sacrifices. So it's like, but to counteract that, the competition that's coming in, it's like, I'm not your competition. Your insecurities and your unknowing of who you are has nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with
I'm very
me.
sure of myself.
Right.
I've always been sure of myself, and I'm big on loving and nurturing, but I'm also very assertive. So I know it can come off very brash sometimes and direct, but you got to understand that I'm like this because I've been through this.
Been through it.
So you don't have to be my competition, and I don't consider anybody my competition, but it's just the roadblocks that can come with it. Yeah. And I'm a very spiritual person first, so I do feel a lot.
Yeah.
Just, I love what I do, so it's not hard for me to navigate. It's not hard for me to connect people. Like, if I go anywhere, I promise you, I'm gonna see at least one or two people, and if they don't know each other, they're gonna get to know each other by the end of the day.
They're gonna know each other before they leave their room. Okay, they're gonna know each other before they leave their room. Right, like what's tea? What's tea? And I'm telling y'all, and Ayla has put me on the spot many of times. Okay, and won't care nothing about it. And won't care nothing about it, right? But the thing is, though, we know that the people that know her, she moves with love, like Grace, like she said, she moves with. You need to know this person because you don't know what can come out of this, but just by you saying,
like,
you know, but just by you saying hey and just being obedient to that connection, you don't know what's going to come out of that. And so one thing I would say too, Ella, like, what would you tell people who are afraid to start networking, right? Who are afraid to get out there and introduce themselves? Like, what would you tell them?
That used to be me. How you doing? It's okay to see you. It's okay. I was just talking about networking, and look at you done popped up. I'll come see you. The power of networking, baby. God done brought them people up. I done met some lawyers yesterday, and I'm sitting at the coffee shop with the same lawyers I done met yesterday. So you want to know?
Yes. Let them know. Let them know. Let them know.
But I used to be like that, not because I was afraid of people, but because it was like, for me, it was engagement, like trying to figure out how this makes sense. I would say don't even worry about it making sense or not, because you may not need that person today. You may not even need them tomorrow or a year from now, but you never know how in the divine timing. So, and it's nothing to be afraid of another person. Like, no matter how boisterous you think they are, you know, I just happen to be a little bit country. That's why my tone is like this, because I'm very country. Like, I'm a farmer in real life. So, you know, but I will say, when it comes to networking, I look at it like this. Human beings in general, we need each other, right? Like, that is an ancient test of times. We've always needed each other. The farmer needs the bakery needs the clients, the customers. But how are you going to connect if you don't even say, hi, my name is? So that's why in every setting, it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's your event, my event, purple, pink, orange event. If I see somebody I know, and I can attest, see somebody I know, and you don't know them, or you may know them, guess what I'm gonna do? Because I just want to make sure that, like, y'all make that connection, because you never know where it can go for you.
It can go, yes. You just never leave no stone unturned. I think that's the big thing too.
Because, for instance, in PR, right? As a publicist, because and I'm speaking of this because that's your familiar realm. Well, but you may want to have a graphic designer, or you may need like a journalist, you know, to do your press releases. I would not connect you with WCTV or WTXL when you have a future client who needs a press run, right? So if I have that middle woman connection, who am I to steal that from you?
Yes. You know? And I,
I will quickly throw a microphone in your face, like, even and if you don't know what to say, just say hi. My name.
Hi, my name is. Yep, and that's it.
But business etiquette 101, you really shouldn't open a business if you don't know what your business is.
You don't know what your business is. Hello.
That's your pitch.
Hello.
Shade.
Hello.
No shade. I'm just saying.
But everything that Ayla speaking
is trying to make our lives better, but we get better together.
Together, yeah, and that thing is too. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, what Ayla is saying is 100% factual. I'm telling you, it's factual. Like I said, Ayla do not care. She'll be quick to say, Andrea, come on, come. Here you go. Tell them what you do, and give it back. And all you can do is say, yes, Ayla. All right, my name is. But that just goes to show, though, the power of your network, right? The power of, even when you know somebody, them trusting you enough to say, yes, all right, Ayla. You know, Ayla said it, right? So let me do it, because Ayla knows, right?
Yes.
And I love that. And I would say too, Ayla, what advice would you give someone who's afraid of taking that next step? Like, who's afraid to take that step of faith, but by possibly watching this episode, this is their time.
What is fear? I'm gonna say, what is fear? Because our minds,
yeah,
it's so powerful.
Yeah.
We can be our biggest cheerleader or our biggest demise.
Yes.
And they say you wake up with this anxiety and this like fear. What are you fearing? I think you start questioning, because is it resolution based? Oh, he showed him. So it's everything has a resolution, right?
Yeah.
So if we say, I think that's just a surface thing, because it's like, what are you really afraid of? Are you afraid of the answer no? Because let me tell you, I've gotten
a lot of those. No. Yeah, you'll get a lot of those.
That because I'm here, like in this new level, new devil, baby. So I would tell anybody, bet on yourself. Understand, at least if you got that no, that's an opportunity for you to improve. That's just like, say, hypothetically, you going to school and you doing the paperwork. Okay, you got a D. That's your no.
Yeah.
But now you are your own teacher, right? So you have to critique this. I know in certain rooms, my posture has to be different. And it's not because I'm changing for them, because they demand the respect.
Yes.
Like if I'm in a certain area where people are timid, I'm a slouch so that you could be comfortable with. If I'm in an area where people they know who they are and they are business, baby, this back.
It's up.
It's up.
It's great.
It's just letting you know that, like, it all starts with the mind. So one thing I learned when I was in the Marine Corps, and I love to tell this story about when I was in boot camp, and what I realized, they didn't break us down physically first.
Yeah.
It's down mentally. How powerful is that? That the strongest branch. So if y'all don't know anything about the military, one thing about the Marine Corps, if I decide to go to any other branch, like Army, Air Force, whatever, if I decide to go to any branch, I don't have to go through the boot camp again because I went through the Marine Corps. Oh, yes. I have to go through the training, like their jobs and stuff, but like boot camp, unless that has changed, but that's how it's been through and through, because the Marine Corps is the most rigorous branch. Yeah. So when I went in first and I stepped on those yellow footprints, the first thing they did was our mind. So that goes to show how powerful your mind is. So the fear isn't, and it really, and a lot of times the fear try to be thinking, these people don't be thinking about you.
Ain't worried about you. Ain't worried about you.
And put out the bill and be like, which one you finna pay for?
Period.
So I think a lot of times we are our worst enemy, because we think about what we can't do before we are optimistic and thinking about what the possibilities are that we can. That's bottom line.
Yes. Get out of
you're too scared and too lazy to do the research to figure out how to open up that lip gloss line. And you ain't, YouTube is everything, because they ain't had that back in the day.
right? It was going to the library or going to someone who's done it.
Right.
Who's doing it. So you could do just your own in-person research.
And just make authentic grace though. Because that's one thing I can say that can be that gray area is that a lot of times people want to learn, but they want it handed to them.
Yeah, and it don't work.
You gotta work, and you gotta build repertoire. You gotta build a relationship on relationships, y'all.
Yes.
Like if I did something wrong to you, I would at least be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So it's a combination of a lot, but the main thing about you and get out your own way and get out. It's your mind. It's your mind first.
Yeah, it is. And I think too, I'm glad that you said that because we be in our own head so much to it's not funny.
It's worse now. Social media has made it so bad now, but it's like there's no scapegoat. Like if you think about your daily routine, right? So like I put myself on a rigorous plan.
Yeah.
A rigorous routine because I realized I would wake up social media. I was like, and I like
back up. Right. I gotta back
like,
up.
Wait a minute. How can I influence myself if I'm getting influenced before I even influence myself?
Not even filling my cup. Not even pouring into myself.
I can't even read. I can't even, like I'm not big on TV, but I read a lot, and it got to. But then that's where that depression and anxiety kicks in because it's like we can't sit here and be like, oh, I don't compare, but we do in some way or form compare and contrast somewhere or another.
Yes, comparison
subconsciously, So sometimes it may be the slightest thing, like, oh, I want that lifestyle, but then we start to be like, oh, I'm working towards it, but that lifestyle they showing, it may not even be the lifestyle that you want.
But it looks glitz and it's glamour, but you don't know what they had to go through to get to that.
Right. And they won't show you those steps.
And they're not going to show you that.
On you. Focus on what makes you happy every single day. It's not a race, y'all. It's a marathon.
It's a marathon. Hello.
I know this looks like I've been doing this. Sometimes it comes off because I'm still young, but I started young too.
Yeah.
And I still have to give myself grace because I'm still young enough,
Yeah.
I ain't got no husband nothing just yet, but
he coming.
We're together, but I've been building this at such a young age.
Yeah.
And I think that we tend to forget to just be in the moment.
Yes. Being in the moment is one of the best things that you can do because what you're standing in now is probably something that you asked from God years ago.
Right.
Years ago. And you're walking in that life. And that's one thing that I take a step back to and realize because it's like, well, God, I want to do this. And God, I want to do that. But he like, well, focus on what you got right now.
But you got it. What you want for whatever you ask, you got it. It just wasn't, it may not have been aligned to how you envisioned it because you wanted it with the, the husband and the castle and the snickerdoodle poodles or whatever.
It's coming, and you have to be patient because one thing, like you said, because like I know just me personally, like okay, like podcasting, I've been doing this for a while, right? But it's not about well, you're not doing this and you're not doing that. No, I'm doing it exactly how God wanted me to do it. It's not about how the world wants me to do it. Or you need to go do this for what? For what? I'm not straying away from the plan that God has for this, right?
Right.
I'm like you said, I'm the vessel and I'm carrying it out.
Yes.
But
you have to move because one thing, if you want it fast, then do it fast. But just know it's gonna fall fast. If you want, like everything I do is community and generational wealth. Like I said, I have 2 kids. My daughter is 12, my son is 5 right now. They're not gonna be that age forever.
Right.
I'm not gonna be my age forever, but I always want to be at least in the light where it's like, Mama did it. Right. And I'm gonna show you how it's done because even though like my great grandfather was a farmer, you know how powerful that is right now. Yes. I'm talking about like a sugarcane farmer, like just and we lost that. Yeah. And, like just the root of. So it's like I don't ever want to lose. If they want if my kids want to learn, I want to be able to teach.
Able to do that. Yeah, 100%. Because you're showing them the possibility.
Yes.
And if as parents, if we can't show our kids the possibilities, they don't know where else it's gonna like where else can happen, right? Or even they're not given the right examples of what that looks like. We should be the examples of what that looks like. No, I'm with you on that. I'm so with you on that. Because I want to be there for everything. What you want to do? What you want to do? Oh, okay. Let me go see if there's a class for that.
But and I can say, so my background is a different dynamic as well. My mother's German, my father's Haitian. So
yeah.
But being in that household, my parents are still married. They're still together. So being in that household, like there was never, and growing up, I didn't understand or respect my mom's mind. And I'm just being transparent, not because I didn't love her, but because like in our culture, no is so prominent. But for her, she was always like, do it. Like, me, I felt like she didn't care because she's like, do it. You know, like, boy, I matured and literally right after I had my first daughter, and we kind of like, we weren't as close, but after I had my daughter, we got closer, and I used to always ask her, like, why you just like shrug your shoulders? She's like, who am I to stop you? She's like, yes, I birthed you, but she said, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. This is so important to the piece.
Yeah.
You were pronounced dead at birth. You was unalive, baby. You was dead.
Yeah.
Like ever since that day, I knew the fire that you had. And she said, I never had to worry about you. And all I had to do was just put my hands up.
Put my hands up.
I said it to say that that's how I move in a sense, like knowing like my health, like I've had a lot of a stringent health journey. And part of that was like, hey, technically you're not supposed to be here, but you are supposed to be.
But you are. Yeah.
But I can only imagine like giving birth in that. I'm an 80s baby, how scary, like now there's so much technology. But then it's like, and then to hear like your child died, but then she alive. But now it's like that's how what molded me and honed me into like how, you get what I'm saying?
Yes, and I love that. I mean, but it's the fact that your mom knew that you were a fighter. Like you weren't gonna give up that easy. Like it's gonna take a lot for you to get rid of me. Okay, period. Like just because you said no just means next opportunity. It may not be this one, but it's one coming, and it may not be the one after that. But it's coming.
No timeline though. We have to learn how to. Everything has its season.
Yes, everything has its season, and once you grasp that concept, you just gonna sit back, continue to do your work until God says, "Okay, let's ride."
Because when you harvest that season, then you'll be ready. Because if you get it prematurely, you're gonna that.
You gonna mess it up.
If you was to get the glory, say I just opened up a business and I got everything like handed to me, you would never appreciate the value of the work that you put in because you didn't work.
Because you didn't put in no work. You ain't put in no work. You just was like, yeah, here we go. Oh, thank you. And just went on to the next thing. No, because you're going to appreciate the progress. You're going to appreciate the waiting period. You're going to appreciate the things that he took you through because it was all leading up to that big thing or that big moment.
And what we have to understand is this is never about us. This work is for the next, right?
Yes.
So if I was to get everything handed, I would never have anything to hand down to the generations to come. So we need to get back to that. Like, I'm so big on mentorships and any type of courses because it's like they had to learn to get there.
Yeah, they had to learn to get there.
They can teach us. Like it's generational. So why would we want to invest in that?
And then the fact that someone wants to take the time out to teach you, that's a blessing.
Yes.
Because we're selfish. Let's be honest. As humans, we're very selfish. We want to keep it to ourselves. We don't want nobody.
Until God brings you down to where you can't be selfish no more.
Hello. You gotta share. You gotta share. Because the thing is, when he was trying to get you to do it the first time, you said no.
You said no.
You said no. And God's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to just break you down till you do it, till you don't have no choice but to do it.
Right. Righty.
Woo. And I would say, Ayla, I enjoyed talking to you. It has been amazing. But what's next? What's next for Ayla? What's next for Power? Like, what you got going on? What's coming up? What can the people look forward to?
I move by God, y'all. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sometimes events happen sporadically. Like they be like, "You can do it." They're not. Like literally, it's not that stuff falls in my lap, but I walk in God. Like I
yeah.
move. I don't. Any future client, I be like, God, because I feel like if we were to move on man's time, and if we would have been
Yeah,
like, oh, I would always be wrong, and I would be at the wrong place, wrong time, where I don't need to be.
right.
God is what saved me. God's grace. So what's next
Yes,
is whatever God wants for me. I
yes.
I really don't know what that looks like. I'm just excited as you all are about this journey because like I didn't even know I was gonna be here. Like I thought I was
No.
gonna be at the club doing,
Doing what
promoting
I do. Doing what I do. That's what I thought. I
at
would
the
be doing what I
show,
do.
or even
Yes.
helping monumental people in the community. Like I literally move on God's time.
Yes, I love that.
That's
Oh
just
my
yeah.
goodness. Yes. Ooh, it gave me chills. They gave me chills. Woo.
I can't do nothing but be a servant of God and just allow
Yeah.
God to move through me. I'm a vessel at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with that. Like I would love however God move me, however you see
Yes.
fit. Just
Yes. And I would say too, Ayla, if people wanted to find you, get in contact with you, where can they find you? How can they
yes,
get in contact
I
with you?
am everywhere on all platforms. Ayla Madison, that's AYLA MADISON. That's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Ayla Madison as well. Uh,
Yeah.
you'll find me all on the platforms there.
Yeah. And then if you're following us on Instagram, the podcast page, you'll see her on there. So there's no issue there. But Ayla, once again though, thank you so much for being willing to come and have a conversation with us about women on the way up. And I'm just so excited for what God has in store for you because I'm always there. Whenever I can get there, I'm always there. So I want
You like I see your growth and I see like the transitions and just watching you blossom. I'm just like, oh my God, like this is okay, podcast room. I'm ready for
yeah, okay. Listen.
it's giving podcast room.
You know.
It's giving shifting the community through communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having those hard conversations.
We
Having
gotta
those hard conversations.
like if we
Having
don't
those
have them, who's
conversations.
gonna save us?
Who's gonna do it? Yes. And that's exactly how I feel. Because if someone doesn't start the conversation, how do we know to continue to keep having those conversations? Because we don't know what we're gonna
What
pull out.
conversations to have? So
Yes.
I do a lot of events because I feel like events are connection. They're
Yeah.
community connection based, but they're also safe spaces because I feel
Yes.
like just from my understanding, like we don't know what the problem is if we don't find a place to
Yeah.
have a conversation about the problem
About the
that can
problem.
be
Yeah.
resolved.
Yeah, 100%. And just being willing and being obedient to that. That's it. Just being willing and obedient to that. Don't worry about who don't show up. Don't worry about who don't come.
Ever.
Focus on
Don't
who's
you
there.
ever, let me tell
Yeah.
you, walk in purpose on purpose. Because if you worry
Yeah.
about every single number, you're not moving for God. You're moving for people.
No, we move for people.
The right people will always show up at the right time.
Yeah.
I've done an event before and two people showed up. But I promise you, them two people that showed up, we're still in contact with. And they've done and we've done
They've done things
collaborative.
together.
So it's not
Yeah.
ever about God will test you. Once
Yes.
you're gonna do what God is asking you to do. And when you do
Yeah.
it with faith and when you do it with esteem, pride, even when it looks like ain't nothing going right.
Ain't nothing going on. Yes. It's just like, will you still? will you? Will you still?
You're not done yet, baby.
No, not at all. We never will be until God is like, okay, it's time for you to come home. But you will never be done as long as you have breath in your body. And don't let your past stop you from doing what you called to do. Your past is your past. Okay, don't dwell in it forever because you got work to do.
Yeah, I think we have to change the idea of how we look at our past. So for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I look at my past as like a chapter, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
this is where I was. This is who I was.
Who
This
I
is
was.
who molded me. So it's like, I would never want to disregard who she was, because if it
Right.
wasn't for my past, I
I
wouldn't be
wouldn't
the woman that
here.
I am today.
Right.
But it doesn't mean we have to mourn so long for
So
who we are
long.
no longer.
Yes, because you
Sometimes we get in a presence and a place of understanding that we are not where we need to be at yet, but we don't know who we used to be. So
we
we
used to be.
lean more towards the mourning of
Yes.
who we were, and then the
Yes.
people that we used to attract.
Yes.
That's growth.
It is. But in realizing, like you said, that I'm not gonna disregard because that's who I was.
Yes.
And who I was has shaped me into who I am. And then who I am is gonna shape me into who I will be. So
Like,
you
if you look at
just
your journey, everything is a building block, right? Like, I went through promotions. In the promotions, I learned about, well, honestly, I was military first and foremost, and then,
Yeah.
you know, military and promotions and marketing and public and project management and things. But it's like, I had to start somewhere. So who am I?
Somewhere. Yes.
And they were
And
like, you're a promoter. Still am a promoter. Yes.
I still do. Still do my big one. Okay, man.
I still will go guerrilla marketing.
Yes. Like what? Like what's next? Like, come on, you gotta come harder than that. No, you gotta come harder than that. Because like you said, that has made me to who I am. And it will never change. It's never gonna go away. You may see a little bit 2.0, 3.0, but I'm still me at the end of the day.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, like I'm still me at the end of the day.
Yes.
I'm still me. Oh my God. Well, y'all, I enjoyed this conversation with Miss Ayla, and I hope you guys did too. And this has been an amazing episode, y'all. I am so excited for y'all to watch this, to hear this, because this is what the You're Not Done Yet podcast is all about. Having real conversations with real people, and people who don't mind telling you what they've gone through and how they've got through that to where they are. You hear me? So I'm just so like, so honored and just so thankful for you to just come on and be a part. So with that being said, y'all heard her. Shout herself out with her social, so make sure y'all go follow her. But make, hey, and she do, and she's supportive. She gonna like everything, share. Listen. And you gonna get that
real life, y'all. I just ain't got no makeup on.
Look, you're gonna get that content and just those events that she does and that clients that she works with, y'all. And she's an amazing person to have, an amazing person to be around. So I'm just so thankful. So make sure you're following us on Instagram at You're Not Done Yet Pod, and me, your host, at Andrea B. And until next week, guys, this has been an amazing episode. So make sure you guys tune in. It's just getting started. Bye, guys. That was so